Welcome to Lovin Sheila, the podcast. We are back for episode 6. We're moving right along, and I hope that you have been blessed by the topics that we've been dealing with thus far. It's very exciting for me, and I just want to jump right into it. I mentioned to you on episode 5 that all I could think about was getting away. And well, I did just that. My sister and I took a trip, and it was very refreshing. We got to put our feet in the sand, deal with some water, do a little snorkeling and things like that. And it was just really a time for us to vacate. You know, when I said I needed a break, I needed to travel, I got a true revelation of vacating, because I just wanted to vacate everything that I do on a normal day-to-day basis and just do something new and not exercise my brain so much and just relax. Like they said, relax, relate, and release. And I did my best. It was short. It was only pretty much a weekend, but I feel somewhat refreshed. You know, I think I got a little tan and I rested and I just vibed out and even bonded with my sister and spent time with her that we hadn't spent since we've been adults. I mean, we've gone on basic trips to visit people in Texas or whatever, or gone on running trips, but we've never just vacated for the sake of vacating and enjoying ourselves and having fun. So as part of the Lovin Sheila experience, as part of the Lovin Sheila journey, I just think that it was essential. Maybe next time I'll do it for longer. Maybe next time I'll plan it a little better. But it was well needed, and something that I've noticed lately, and I've noticed it with, in particular, when I talk to my therapist, I notice every time we finish, she says, "Take care." And as I talk to different people, you know, it's like some people, like I feel like my husband tries to feed me, maybe because I don't make it a priority to eat. My son, you know, same thing in that area. He's always saying, "Take care of yourself," and because I'm pretty much telling him how I don't want to do this, I don't feel like doing that. And it's really the bad part is it all comes from the things that I need to do for myself. Like there's some things that need to be done, and I can absolutely do it because it needs to be done. My employer's asking me to do it. Someone's expecting me. And so I'm really trying to break out of that mode where, where I'm doing everything that is expected, yet not really taking a moment and taking care of myself. And I never would have thought that taking care of yourself, or as I like to call it, Lovin Sheila, could be so difficult. But it is worthy of a podcast of new events every week, because it can be challenging, because there is life. You know, there's life to do. And life can sometimes, in my experience, get in the way of taking care of myself. So it's a conscious effort, a conscious journey to be mindful, because I've done a lot of, like I was talking on the last episode, I've done a lot of work, I think, on myself. I've done a lot of reading, studying, I guess, coursework, trying to delve deeper into things. I've done that type of work. And so now it's time to have the experience of it all. Like, okay, Sheila, now you have this knowledge. It's knowledge right now, but now I want to make it more applicable. I want to apply it, okay? And that's wisdom. Applied knowledge is wisdom. So I want to exercise wisdom when it comes to taking care of myself. And I'm telling you this not just because I'm talking about me and how I want to be, but because it applies to all of us, because I'm not the only one, who's at this point in their life where they realize, okay, well, I don't have to take care of kids on a day-to-day basis and all, and everything else is maybe running like a well-oiled machine possibly. And so now it's really time to sit back, relax, reflect, and see what is aching, what needs attention in Sheila. And so that's where I am. So the vacation was very much needed. It was very much essential. It was very much part of this journey. Though I felt sometimes a little stressed to relax, which is, I think, part of my personality. I just try to soak it all in and relax and do nothing and float on a floaty, you know, and go around and round and not do anything, okay? So it was good. I was listening to some music while I was there. You know, I had my headphones on, and for some reason I was listening to In Vogue, Free Your Mind. And I thought of it first, and then I put it on, and it really is not about this kind of journey that I'm on, but I think the essence of freeing your mind is what I was searching to do. And you know, the song says, free your mind and the rest will follow. So just like everything, it all begins with a thought. Like my vacating started with a thought, meaning I gotta go somewhere, I gotta get away. Well, freeing my mind is starting with a thought. My mind races from the time I wake up until the time I go to bed. I wake up in the middle of the night thinking about different things. And I think that's the way that I'm wired. And now I'm trying to rewire. And from freeing my mind, that took me to, it's a reset. Okay, I am embarking on a reset because and I'll take responsibility, have programmed myself to function in a certain way for the last 50 years. And now I really don't think it's as healthy as I would like it to be. I don't believe it's as healthy as I'd like it to be. So I'm focused on my reset. And I started using some hair vitamins like a year ago. Because I mentioned to you all in the first episode, I said, wow, I don't feel like my hair is as thick as it used to be. I mean, and I've always had a good amount of hair, and I just felt like it's changing. And so I don't like it. I want my hair like it always has been. So I thought I'd do Nutrafol from the inside out. It's kind of costly, you know, costs a good amount of money. And I've been on it for a year, and I haven't taken advantage of the resources that they give you, but they do give you some resources. And finally, this morning, I talked to one of the doctors to let's talk about my hair health. And I'm thinking, well, while I'm on this whole mental health, this wellness, this Lovin Sheila, that's every piece of me, from the top of my head to the sole of my feet. Okay, to my soul, to my mind, will, and emotions, but everything, it all needs attention. And so as we were talking, she asked me, what is your stress level? Okay, 1 to 10. And I said, it's probably, this is so awful. I said, it's probably a 10. And I said, but that's just the way I'm built. I'm built like that. I'm just that girl. I'm not loose like that. So, but I said, okay, I'll give it an 8, you know, got a lot of stuff going on. It's an 8. And then she's like, well, tell me what you ate yesterday. I was like, oh, shoot. This is awful. I was like, oh, shoot. I had some chili and little tiny piece of chicken. And I think I said, I didn't tell her this, but, well, you know, I had some rice. But anyway, she didn't say anything. I just felt so guilty when I said it, because I was like, this is awful. And then she said, how are you sleeping? And I was, don't sleep well, pretty much kind of wake up through the night. And then I'll turn on Judge Judy and let Judge Judy try and put me back to sleep. So anyway, as we're having this conversation, the point of me telling you all this, as we're having this conversation, I'm like, oh, holy crap. You know, kind of like, is Lovin Sheila working? Because I just said my stress level's at an 8. I don't sleep. I don't eat well. She said, she asked me, what do I do for stress? I said, well, I exercise. And I said, maybe 3 to 5 times a week. That was the only thing I felt pretty good about, is that, okay, yeah, I do exercise. But the other things I felt, oh, you got to do better. And that's why wellness is so important, because you can be so lopsided. Because what I'm saying is, I'm listening, trying to read my Bible. I haven't read it as much as I want to lately. I'm getting my word in from sources of the preachers that I listen to. I'm doing my Dr. Cloud, working on my boundaries, kind of trying to reflect and evaluate my relationships, and even trying to practice boundaries. And actually, I had a testimony. It kind of works when you kind of tell people to hold on, but I'll come back to that another time. But as I'm doing all this, it's like but you still have to, then I'm more concerned about my hair. And okay, well, your diet is not great. Okay, you're not sleeping well. So my whole wellness and my whole Lovin Sheila journey has to incorporate all these things. And so it was just a wake up call for me, because basically, as far as my hair, it was like, oh, because she said I need to get so much protein. I need to get like half my body weight in grams of protein a day. And I was like, holy cow. And I'm telling you this because hopefully you all do it as well. Holy cow, because I know I'm not getting that much protein. And in order for the hair to grow, to be, to function, I guess, at its best, you got to get that, because if it doesn't, it's using all that nourishment to survive, because it goes into survival mode. So your hair is not thriving. So maybe everything else may be functioning okay, but now your hair. So ladies, I guess what I'm trying to say is it's the whole shebang. So as we reset, or as I reset, I have to reset as far as the diet, as far as how I rest, even my water consumption, all these things, they all go together. And and I talked about pain last week, and how your body is telling you certain things. Well, I think my hair, unfortunately, was telling me some things too. And it's comes to a point where you say, okay, I gotta listen. I must listen. And so now I'm trying to work on that. And there's so much work to do, because not only do I have all this, I actually have to work. I have a job. So, but I just think it's important, and I share this with you because let us not be myopic in our focus, as we focus on just one thing. It can't just be spiritual. It can't just be mental health. It can't just be physical health. It has to be everything, all encompassing. And so I don't know if we need to journal. I don't even know if we need to take a checklist, but we definitely need to be mindful and deliberate about the things that we are doing if we are going to be complete and love ourselves and our family, and just be our best self. Because I know without a doubt, as I struggle with these things, as I'm tired because I'm not resting well, or I'm probably not nourished well, I'm not my best self. I'm exhausted, and my energy level to deal with people is not what it could be or should be. And I'll be honest, a couple weeks ago I was telling you how I go mentally, I go through so many changes. A couple weeks ago I was saying I was disappointed because I felt like, where are my friends? And now I'm at the point where no, I don't really want to be bothered with anyone. So it's like this whole big fat spectrum, this roller coaster of life. One minute you feel like you just need all this support and you need everyone around you. And then the next minute you feel like, yeah, I want to be isolated. And maybe it's good. Maybe there's growth in that. And I guess I just say, this whole spectrum is going to take you through a myriad of emotions. It's going to take you through a lot of ups and downs, highs and lows. And so that's why we do need to at least be connected with ourselves so we can feel and do what needs to be done. If we're slipping down a slippery slope of depression, regression, oppression, suppression, whatever it is, to be mindful and to say, okay, let me deal with this. Let me deal with this. I cannot hide. I cannot sleep all day and think things are going to change. It's very deliberate that we are making our purpose to improve and be more loving to ourselves. Because what I find is when I'm not feeding myself, nourishing myself, combing my hair, washing my face, I'm not really loving myself, and all those things go into it. And so, ladies, I encourage you, for my mistakes or for my shortcomings in these areas, take heed and deal with your be holistic in your approach to your wellness and your loving yourself, so you can be the best for you and for your families and for your employers or those who love you and those who rely on you. They want to see us flourish, and all these things, it's all encompassing. And I think I have fallen short in that because, when at the end of the day, it's like, oh, I don't really need to eat. I can eat in the morning or whatever the case may be. No, you need to eat. You need to nourish yourself, and maybe that's not your thing. Maybe it's not eating. Maybe it's, exercise for some, whatever it is. Just know we need to make conscious steps to deal with those things every day. Okay. So that's our reset. Okay. And we don't want to be reactive. We don't want to do it because something's breaking down or something's falling out. Let's be proactive. Let's, before these things get the best of us, let's be aggressive and assertive in handling them. Okay, we are in control of our lives. We are in control of ourselves. And so let's do a good job and let's take care of ourselves and love ourselves, okay? So that's what I wanted to say. Be proactive, not reactive. Not a response to going to the doctor and them saying there's some major thing wrong. But let's just, let's make sure this doesn't happen. One good thing that happened today when I was talking with the doctor, she asked me if I had any health issues, and I said I'm very healthy, and I was proud of that. I'll say I was very healthy, and I'm not taking any medications or anything like that. So that was one thing I felt good about, but there's so many more things. And so we're on our reset. We're freeing our mind. I've been still listening to Dr. Cloud, and he has been an immense blessing to me. Today we were talking about, I reviewed with him today, we were talking about entitlement, and certainly entitlement is something, he was talking about entitlement within boundaries. First of all, one thing that I thought was interesting, and I'll reiterate to you all, is that the boundaries are within the relationship, and the boundaries are to help the relationship flourish, not to separate us from folks, but it's to make sure that we have healthy relationships. Because when people are invasive and they overstep, we have a different response to them, and it's not the most loving response. But if we build these healthy boundaries, then now we can have a relationship that has the ebbs and flows, and there's the give and the take, and that's the beauty of it. So we can't look at setting boundaries with people as a bad thing or keeping them just this close. It's just, it's our way to love each other in a mutual way, and I thought that was great. And so he went on to talk about entitlement, and I've definitely experienced some issues with that. And for me, entitlement brings, when people deal with me with this sense of entitlement, it brings resentment and it brings anger for me. And I'm not really a bitter person, but it just doesn't make me feel good about the relationship, because I noticed that there's a bit of a free spirit in me. I love to do things because I want to. It makes me feel so much better. Even though I said I feel like I was compelled, or not compelled, I felt like I put pressure on myself to perform different things and different tasks, or to be there for different people. And that wasn't because of them, it was because of the way that I think that I'm built and what I thought that how families and relationships, friendships should go. But now I'm learning that it's not necessarily that, and I need to clearly set the agenda, the boundaries, or how I want this to go, rather than just, oh, that's expected, or that's what people do, or whatever the case may be. Really establish how I want my relationships to go. And so entitlement doesn't work well for me at all. And so it just really brings out the worst in me, because that gets me to my stubborn stage. And that's like, if you act entitled toward me, you're not going to get what you want, because you're not entitled, and you have to respect that I want to feel like I'm doing something that I want to do, not that I'm compelled, or because, I'm your daughter, or I'm your sister, or I'm your wife, or I'm your mother. I want to do it because I want to. But if you make me feel like you deserve it just because, it's very difficult. So I think that's something that we need to manage in relationships, entitlement and the boundaries to prevent folks from feeling that way, because we do want to address folks' needs. Absolutely, we want to do that, but we don't want to address them just because they've made us feel like you owe this to me, or everything I've done for you, you owe it to me. And it was a good example yesterday. I was talking to my son over the phone, and I was like, you want some Panera bread? He's like, that would be nice. I said, okay, I'll order you some Panera bread. So he ordered it on the app and all. And then he's like, thanks, Ma. And I'm thinking, it is a small thing for me to feed you. It's a small thing. It costs $15 for me to order Panera bread for you. But what it demonstrated to me is that he didn't feel entitled. Like, yeah, Ma, I'll do that, or whatever. It was like, I'd appreciate it if you would order Panera bread for me, or whatever. And so it made me feel proud. It made me feel like we've raised a good son, because the last thing I wanted for him to be was just a child that's running this world feeling entitled to everything. And that was certainly a blessing for me. Just a small thing, but so I guess the point I'm trying to make is, in our relationships, make sure that we are setting those boundaries, and especially for those of our loved ones who have these entitlement issues, make sure that we communicate that we are willing to meet their needs, you know what I'm saying? But it's how it's communicated, and it has to be a kind of an even flow of communication of needs, so that my need is that you make me feel, this is weird, I need you to communicate with me so that I don't feel it's an obligation or I have no choice. That's my need. And I don't know if that's an awkward need or whatever. And your need is whatever it is. And you can communicate that in whatever safe way. So that's important, I think. It goes back to the communication that we talked about last week, how vitally important that is. And another thing that was interesting as far as that goes, as far as the relationships and boundaries and so forth, is when we're communicating it, we want to do it diplomatically. Just like in dealing with, in war, and this is Dr. Cloud speaking now, just like in dealing with other nations, you want to do it diplomatically, diplomacy first. You don't go in, with your immediate threat of force. You're going to go in and, be kindly, a little maybe quid pro quo or something. Just ease into it. It's diplomatically, because people respond better to it. But when you give ultimatums in this way or the highway or whatever, it's not going to go well. You're going to be met with resistance. I know I've done it before, and it's been done to me, and it's not healthy, and it's part of the reset. Just reset. And another thing I remember years ago we went to see this comedian, and he would say things, and he would say erase, erase. And sometimes I feel like there's a whole period of time, maybe a whole relationship or a whole job or experience that we just kind of want to erase and start all over. And so I think it's okay. I think it's okay to reset, okay? Reset your boundaries, set your goals, reset your expectations, reset. It's okay, because for someone like me who now we're empty nesters, and I don't have a child at home anymore. It's okay. I can reset. I don't have to get up and take kids to school. I don't have to do homework. There's there's hours in my day that were not set aside for me that are now for me. And so I'm resetting. I'm like, what do you do with this? Figure it out, okay? So maybe it means you feed yourself properly, that you get your protein, that you exercise, that you do all the things, that you concentrate on getting better rest, or de-stressing, detoxing, I'm going to call it, through meditation, whatever it takes to free your mind. I meditate. I've meditated in the past, but my mind starts racing, and I pretty much give up because I'm like, I want to focus on that, go do that. I meditate. It's not really meditation, so I need to give it the time that I need for it to be effective. See, I'm not giving it at the time that I need for it to be effective. I just go, and then I'm not doing anything, and so my mind is thinking of all things I can do. That's not meditation. So hopefully, you guys are better than me. But if you are in that situation, let's come up with some exercises. I was using the Calm app for a little while, and it kind of walks you through. And it was kind of odd to me. It was awkward. Feel your breath or something. All these things, and I'm kind of like, how do you do that? Well, maybe being calm enough, maybe I would. God only knows. But again, that's the reset. Calm your mind. Take one thing off at a time. Write it down. Get it out of your head. There's nothing you can do about it right now. But there are some things you can do. Did you eat? Did you drink? Did you, I don't know, do your skincare? Did you take care of your hair? I mean, all these little tiny things, but they all add up, because a lot of times when I feel bad about myself, or when I feel depressed, it's like, oh, look at my hair, or look at my skin, or my body, whatever the case may be. But if I was actively and daily dealing with those things, and I wouldn't have those, issues. It wouldn't get me down like it does. And another thing, I was listening to Bishop Jones. Dang, I did a lot of stuff this morning. I was all over the place, apparently. I was listening to Bishop Jones this morning, and he was talking about our gifts, and the gifts of God are without repentance, and how we must use them, and how we can't sit on them, and that's another thing. So I encourage all of you to, whatever the gift is, whatever the calling is, whatever is inside of you, just like this right here, this podcast, me talking to you was inside of me, and I said, let's just do it. Let's just do it. My brother and I, it was inside of us to have our podcast. It was inside of me to have my t-shirt line. And I just did it. And I was also talking to my son yesterday, and we were just talking about ideas for the show. And he was asking me about college experience. And I was like, oh, it was awful. It was absolutely awful. Because I guess he was thinking maybe I could talk about that. And I said, imagine college where, you live, I was married, actually, because this is my second marriage. I was married, and I was poor. I was young, and I was paying for it myself, and I was working at the same company that I'm working with now. Here it is 30 years later. Part-time, I was working for them. I said, imagine going to college. under those circumstances. Does that sound fun? I said, and he said no, and I said exactly, and that's what drives me to want to give him more. That's what drives me to want to give him a good college experience, because those are years you can't get back. You'll never be young again. You'll never be free again without responsibilities. So it's like, enjoy it. So I guess it's seize the moment. If that's your moment, live it, seize it, make the best of it. Here I am at 50 something. And again, I'm going to say, seize the moment, live it, enjoy it, make the best of it. There are some things that haven't gone right. There are some things that don't please me. Address it. It's never too late. Reset, okay? Reset, fix it. Erase it. Do what you have to do. That's our reset. And we are entitled to it. We are in charge of our life. Who's to tell us we can't reset it? If someone's not treating you like you want them to treat you, let them know. This is not how I want to be treated. This is not the relationship that I want to have with you. And if they love you, if they know how to love, then they'll respond, and it'll be better. So that's my message today. Reset, live. I don't want to say live your best life, because it sounds so cliche, but live the life that's best for you. Love yourself, do you, and So that is that's what I think about that. Oh, and I'm heavily focused on the boundaries, because that was a big deficit in my life, and just remember this, and it's not even original to Sheila, but it's something that I took in my coursework. Get your stop signs up. Let folks know that's no bueno, doesn't feel good. So let them know there's a stop sign. Maybe you don't want to proceed any further than that, okay? Let's get those fences up. Let's protect ourselves, our heart. We don't have to anesthetize ourselves anymore from pain, and anesthetize our heart. Let's just protect it with proper boundaries, with proper love for ourselves, proper love for our loved ones. And I think that will help us on this reset in our journey. Now, that's pretty much all I have to say today. But I do want to remind you that I'm still selling those Lovin Me shirts, and they are still $10. Don't forget, go to lonewithbodyword.com. Just put in podcast or Lovin Sheila as your promo code, and you'll get the $10 rate, because I love you, and I want you to wear that affirmation on yourself, and just to remind yourself, I need it. Trust me, ladies, I need it daily. I do so many things, and I won't say they're self-destructive. Maybe self-deprecating. I'll look up the word or what they are. So much. I need you. I need your affirmations. I need your love. I need your support. And I don't think I'm unique, and I'm just now at this ripe old age at the point where I can say that, because I think in the years past I was like, I don't need anyone, or whatever the case may be. And I may not need to be, in someone's presence, but there are some things, even text messages, even comments on the podcast, it gives me life. And it's okay. It's okay to say that. It's okay to be vulnerable. So I'm just telling you, get your shirt, remind yourself to love yourself. It is, for some of us, it's easier than others. God bless you, if that's who you are. For some of us, we have to be reminded kind of daily, and we have to go on this journey, and we sit here and we talk about it. So ladies, again, thank you for joining me. I love you for watching. Wink, wink. Until the next time, take care, and God bless.